Whose responsibility is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in an organization? Now you might be thinking, it's for the HR team out there. It's for the DEI committee. It's not our job. Bang, wrong answer. DEIB is everybody's responsibility in an organization. It doesn't matter who you are, what level you're on, what your circle of influence is. Everyone has a role to play in creating spaces where everybody feels valued and included. Step number one begins with you taking ownership of your unconscious bias. It's about you acknowledging that the way you see the world is but a small little way of seeing the world around you. The way you perceive your colleagues specifically is but a small little way of perceiving who they actually are. Now, unconscious biases and beliefs and all these other things that get in the way of us interacting and integrating with people that are different to us, all of these things get formed in our mind at a very, very young age. Hence, they're called unconscious. We're not even aware of them. It's our norm. It's how we think everybody else in the world is. So let me give you a quick example. From the time that the employee journey begins, when they're being interviewed for a particular position, unconscious bias is often at play by the people that are interviewing, right? The people on the panel. So this might look like looking at a CV of a candidate and you see that they grew up in a particular area or they went to a particular school. Immediately you'd be like, oh, they went to the same school as so-and-so. I hear that's an amazing school. This person must be so clever. We need to invite them back for a second interview, regardless of whatever happens today. That's unconscious bias at play based on the area that the person grew up in, right? Another one is looking at somebody that isn't particularly good looking. Perhaps they present to you as ugly. You're looking at them, they've got a funny nose, funny hairstyle, they dress funny. This person is just not looking the part for you for so many reasons, right? Now, bear in mind, there's a difference between professional dress and rocking up for an interview like you really just don't care about it. But based on your unconscious biases, you'll make an assumption of the person based on your own personal tastes. And we have to be very careful with this because, as I mentioned, there's a fine line between what is professional and what is casual. It varies from person to person. So keep that in mind as you're interviewing a person, because you might look at somebody and think, oh, do you know what? They're such a mess. Look at them. They're not wearing the latest designer brands. I don't think this person would fit in. Clearly, they don't come from money like the rest of us. We're a company that prides ourselves in looking spick and span like we all just stepped out of a magazine. These things happen. They actually happen. I was once called for an opportunity, I'm not going to mention the company, and I showed up as I am right now in terms of my face. I wasn't wearing makeup. It was a video conference call, and 99.9% of the time, I don't wear makeup. It's only on occasion, sometimes when I'm speaking. Other times I don't wear makeup. I show up barefaced. So when I was talking to the panel, they asked me all sorts of questions. They loved my content. And I was like, I'm winning. Like, this is mine. You know, when you get that feeling that you're connecting with people, I was like, in the bag. This is my Christmas money. I didn't get the opportunity. And when I asked later, I asked an insider who works within the business, I'm like, but I thought I connected. I thought I ticked all of the boxes. Like, what went wrong? And they said to me, Mayo, you weren't glam enough. You should have showed up dripping. You should have had nails, jewelry, lots of makeup. You should have been slaying. Then they would have taken you. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I wasn't a fit, clearly. And bear in mind, we do this unconsciously. So even with yourself, as you engage with people around you, think to yourself, what judgments are you making about them based on how they look, how they talk? That's another big one, by the way. We perceive people who speak English, close to English people, if I can put it like that. we perceive them to be more intelligent than people who have an accent, let's say a Xhosa accent, a Zulu accent, Tswana, Afrikaans accent, whatever accent. And I'm talking about South African accents because this is obviously where I am, right? So when somebody speaks English without any of those accents and they sound more English, then we think, ooh, that person is so clever. Even if they're talking nonsense, we're just so smitten by the accent and we think, oh, they must know what they're talking about. And we do this in meetings quite often. I remember when I was in corporate and somebody who had a thick accent, when they would speak, people would look at them and be like, oh, like whatever, like what are you saying, you know? And then when somebody speaks who has more of a English accent, then people will be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I think we should try that out. Try and catch yourself doing these things. Shine the light of awareness in how you treat other people. So what's the solution now? How do we move beyond our preconceived ideas about other people? How do we move beyond our unconscious biases, our limiting beliefs about them, etc., etc.? The one thing that I do want to share with you, and mind you, there's lots of things. This isn't the one thing that fixes everything, but it's definitely something that unlocks the door to creating diverse environments. The one thing that I want to leave with you is curiosity. Curiosity. There's an expression that says curiosity killed the cat. No. In DEI world, it did not kill the cat. Curiosity opened doors. Be curious about people around you. Ask questions, not to judge, not to label, not to put people down, shame them, embarrass them, but ask in such a way that you're showing you're genuinely interested in a particular culture, a particular practice, ritual, language, etc. Because through asking and getting information from people, you're actually closing down the gap. You're building bridges between yourself and people that are different to you. And asking a question might look like, I know that on such and such a date, people who believe in what, practice what. What does that mean to you personally? What's your interpretation of that? And then you listen. Now, of course, use language that's casual, informal, that feels authentic to you, right? I'm just using this as an example. So curiosity, when it's authentic and it's channeled in a healthy way and in the right environment, it can really unlock doors for you to connecting and understanding people that are different to you. Now, I know I only said one, and curiosity, which I've already shared, but I do want to add one more. The second one is having cultural competence. This really means understanding at a heart level that the way you see the world is but one small little lens of seeing the world. The way you live in the world is but one small little way of living in the world. Cultural competence, despite us thinking, despite is not the word I'm looking for. Okay, I can't remember the word, but anyway, cultural competence, when we hear the word culture, we tend to think that it's wearing traditional material. You know, here in South Africa, we have Heritage Day, and on Heritage Day, everyone wears traditional print material. Xhosa people have their own print, Shangani have their own vendor, etc., all the different tribes, and that's how we celebrate it in a very visual way. Now, that's beautiful, and I don't take anything away from that. And what I want to emphasize is that culture doesn't just mean the way you look and your rituals, etc. Culture actually refers to how you live. Every single day, how do you live? From the moment that you wake up to the time that you put your head on the pillow. Or some people don't even sleep on a pillow. That's how diverse we are, right? But when you end your day, what are the things that happen in between that? Because I guarantee you, if you show a bit of curiosity about other people, you will be actually amazed at how different we are. So what's the relevance of that in a work context? People that wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., go to gym, get in the car, drive to work for an hour, get to work by, let's say, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., automatically will think that this is how everybody else lives their lives every single day. So when they call for a meeting at 8 a.m. in the morning or 8:30, it's not a problem because, hey, they've been up since 5 a.m., right? Now, if you're a mother, a single mother at that, and you have to get everybody ready, you have to do all of the driving, dropping off people in all sorts of locations, tending to the helper because she missed the taxi, now she can't be at your house on time by the time the kids come back from school. Now you have to drive across town, go pick her up, bring her to your house. All of these dynamics, if you don't live in that world, that'll sound very foreign to you, and you won't understand if somebody says, but 8:30 is a bit early, can we have the meeting at 11? Now you might think, you don't respect company time, work starts at 8, blah, 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 blah. But being diverse, working in a diverse environment means that we take things like that into consideration. We meet people at their point of need, and that speaks to equity. It's not about having a one-size-fits-all approach to everyone in the organization, but it's about tailoring our processes and our policies, which speaks to equity, as I mentioned. But the two things that I want to leave you with, just to recap, is the curiosity and the cultural competence. When you hold on to those two things, I promise you, you'll make a massive difference in terms of building an organization where everybody feels safe, valued, seen, and ultimately they belong.